a world of complex problems, can one person really make a difference? Maya found herself wondering about this question when she stumbled across a problem in her community. Maya loves nature and spending time outdoors, so she was excited when her class began a project exploring her local river ecosystem. However, she was quickly alarmed to discover that the river was full of single-use plastic trash, floating bottles, bags tangled in tree roots, and wrappers along the shore, all of which could harm animals and local residents. Maya thought, "This isn't right. I need to do something." She decided to use a new tool in hopes of making a positive difference in her community, a leverage point. Just like a lever helps us lift heavy things with little effort, a leverage point is a place in a system where we can apply our energy so that a relatively small intervention leads to significant change. To find the best leverage point, Maya knew she first needed to investigate the root and systemic causes of single-use plastic in the river. She interviewed neighbors, surveyed business owners, and researched to understand the problem and identify 4 potential leverage points for making a positive change. Maya's first idea was to focus on changing the amount of single-use plastic in the river. Less plastic would pose less risk to the local animals, ecosystem, and community. She recognized the amount of plastic as an example of a physical leverage point, a quantity, size, or material flow that impacts a problem. If she were to organize a community river cleanup, the results would be visible immediately and would have a positive impact today. But she wondered, what about next week or the week after when the plastic returns? While considering changes with a more lasting impact, Maya recalled that many people frequently discard plastic bags after a single use, which often end up in the river. She recognized the frequency at which people discard plastic bags as an example of a behavior leverage point, a pattern, trend, or recurring action that influences the problem. To change this behavior, she could start a business selling reusable bags or encourage shop owners to offer discounts to customers who bring their own. Reducing the number of new plastic bags in the river now and in the future would be a positive, longer-term change. But Maya wondered if it would be hard to get people to change their behavior. While investigating the problem, Maya heard from shop owners that they use single-use plastic for packaging, not because they don't care about the environment, but because switching to other materials could be expensive and affect their livelihoods. Maya realized she needed to consider the entire plastic production system to find ways to change the relative cost of single-use plastic compared to more sustainable materials. The plastic production system was an example of a structural leverage point, a policy, institution, structure, or system that influences a problem. To change the plastic production system, Maya could lobby the government to offer incentives to companies that research and use more sustainable materials. If she could help spark an industry-wide shift, it could eventually reduce plastic production and pollution in her local community and beyond. But people's beliefs about plastic could also be an obstacle to change. Maya learned that people prioritize the convenience of single-use plastic over its potential harm, leading them to feel no need to act differently or change systems. Maya identified this belief as an example of a mindset leverage point, an underlying value or belief that influences how people think and act in relation to a problem. Maya wondered if educating people about the harm single-use plastic can cause to humans, animals, and the environment through an awareness campaign could shift mindsets. Maybe she could have an even bigger impact by igniting a larger movement of solutionaries tackling plastic pollution in their communities. Reflecting on the 4 leverage points she had identified, Maya realized that she had options for making a change. To address the problem in the short term, she could focus on a physical leverage point, such as the amount of plastic in the river. Then, to create lasting change, she could address a behavior leverage point, like how frequently people dispose of plastic bags, a structural leverage point, like the plastic production system, or a mindset leverage point, like people's beliefs about the potential harm of single-use plastic. By designing an action plan targeting at least one leverage point, Maya felt confident that she could have a meaningful impact on single-use plastic pollution in her community. Now that you've heard Maya's story, what leverage points can you identify for an issue you care about that could help make a positive difference in your community? To learn more about leverage points and how to be a solutionary, visit www.humaneeducation.org.